All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
Podcast.
and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to D-
Wow.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah. He stopped in the middle of the sentence too.
Yes.
I thought he was laughing at something else, and I was like, "Oh."
But you gotta
this is,
stifle it and like cough it, choke it in the back of your throat.
That's true. You gotta.
But here's my problem. I didn't
My boy
see
Joaquin
it.
did. I didn't
Anyway,
see
if
it.
you didn't know, you get to know right now. Welcome to Get to the Movies. My name is Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And we're definitely talking about the Joker, even though I failed to go see
I
it.
know you were
Oh,
supposed to
man.
see it,
Yeah.
and you didn't do it.
I know. I feel sorry.
It's
I think you'll really like it.
It's a competence issue,
Yeah.
really, because it's not hard to go see a fucking movie. And
It
when
is
you say
when
you're
you
gonna do
have
it, just
a
do it.
wife.
I have a wife and a kid and a dog. You have one of those three.
That's because
things.
you always sleep on the couch, but I don't want to sleep on the couch.
What does that mean? She went with me.
I didn't.
We got
look,
the dog to watch the kid, and
I'm
my
gonna
wife
say
and
you
I
would
went and
like
saw
it.
Joker.
She would like the movie.
I want to watch the film. I
it was
really
great.
wanted to go
Yeah.
watch the film, but
fucking great.
schedule did not work out for me. I did watch El Camino, which was from Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bad.
which
Okay,
was-
I've never seen Breaking Bad, so
I've watched
probably should.
some. I watched like the last few episodes of the final
Yeah.
season and some of the earlier, like second. Like I'm all over the place, so
I gotta watch.
I don't
it.
have enough like affinity for that show to like care about the
Yeah,
movie.
my-
I gotta watch it though because apparently it's one of the greatest shows of all time.
That's what but they also said that about The Wire.
The Wire is one of the greatest
The
shows of all time. Have you
Wire
ever
is
watched
one
it?
of the
Oh,
greatest
whoa,
shows.
whoa, whoa!
Have you ever
whoa,
watched all
whoa,
5
whoa,
seasons?
whoa.
Yeah, the
Slow
Wire
your
is,
roll, man. These guys
The Wire
turning
is
rabid
like, yeah.
animals over here.
Don't you go there! Don't you go
Well,
there!
I just came from the
Don't talk
Joker
shit
and I'm
about The
all
Wire.
worked up. I'm all worked up because of
Don't-
Joker.
yeah.
Well, this is the thing. This is the question. Is Joker really dangerous? And there's been a lot of talk about this. It's really interesting because it does remind me of this kind of 1990s, when there were school shootings happening, Columbine and stuff like that. People started blaming music, and
I thought they were blaming Doom, the video game.
Well,
I
they
remember
blame video games. They
video
blame
games
shoot 'em up
were big.
movies. They blame music. They're blaming Marilyn Manson. They started blaming like Eminem and stuff like that.
Rage
And-
Against the Machine.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine. But it's like why do we keep coming back to the same argument? Like, is art
It's be-
actually inspired? Like, these people, if people are fucked up enough to see a movie and
Yeah.
go out and shoot somebody, it ain't the movie, okay? Because the stimulus could be anything. It could be they see somebody having a fight on the street. It could be a billboard. It could be, and then we're gonna blame, we can't do everything. And it becomes a little 1984-ish.
It's the issue that humans have, which is always blame something fucking else.
Yeah,
because films
that's
and
right.
films, games, all these things are artistic piece of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a reflection of humanity.
Yeah. Right.
So people get upset when humanity is shown, and
Right.
you see yourself in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
'Cause-
see your reflection, and you're like, "No, I am not that. I am not that person. I'm not this," and it becomes that. No, that's a film mistreating me, saying something bad. No, don't show me that way. No, it's literally we're getting our reflection of what humanity is, and we just can't admit that's. Honestly,
This is happening.
This
This
happens
kinda
to
shit
a lot of
happens.
humans.
Yeah.
A lot of humans go through this.
Yeah, trauma is trauma.
trauma
And
is
just because
trauma.
you don't get to cherry pick your fucking trauma. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
The argument falls apart the second you go, okay, well, if this is inspiring people to do bad things, why did that one person
Yes.
claim that they did this bad thing because they watched that
Right.
content or whatever?
Yeah,
And it's
like-
like, how come the millions of people that now watch the content haven't done shit?
Yeah.
They haven't done anything.
yeah,
they're
so
totally fine.
This might
So
fit
one
or
of the-
might not
exactly.
fit, but one of the best statements I heard this week, I watched Hustle and not Hustle and Flow, is
The Hustlers?
It's that new
Rhythm and
rap,
Flow?
Rhythm and Flow. Yeah, I watched that this week, and one of the best statement I heard was from Cardi B saying that the guy came up there and he tried to win by saying his sob story, which
Oh, I can't stand
and
that.
so and Cardi B said, Cardi
I don't know.
B said,
Didn't 6ix9ine say Cardi B was a gang leader or something?
I
Dude, that
don't know.
motherfucker told
Yeah, I don't know. But Cardi B said to him,
that guy told him that everybody.
He got a new record contract.
Yeah, millions
in
of dollars.
prison.
Cardi B said to him, she said, "Here's the thing, that all of us here and everybody in the back, we all have sob stories.
Right.
I want to hear your glory story, and to do that, you have to step up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know. So, but
Yeah, coming in on Christ. But here's the thing: the criticism. The criticism is that that the movie was made and it's sort of like it's a proponent of violence because you've been wronged, right? It's saying that that's okay. That's what people are saying, and I'm like, I didn't come away from that film at all. Now, the argument can be made, oh well, we're not like that, but if we put ourselves in the shoes of some mentally damaged person, what message are they going to get? And I'm like, so are we supposed to start forming things around what should and should not push buttons of the mentally deranged?
But that's interesting that you say that, because I don't know if this aspect of the film is a spoiler for Tiago, but
say it anyways.
The director said it, and I didn't even catch it in the when I saw the movie, and then I
Oh.
watched like a interview with the director later, and he made a point specifically about one scene that I had not thought was part of this plot device or whatever. Should we just say it, or are
just
we
say
not?
it. Just say it.
Just say it.
There's an aspect of
You
the fil-
asshole! No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. This is a really great part. This is like a major part of the film. I don't really want to spoil it for you.
Okay, so can you say it without talking about the scene?
he knows what I'm talking about as far as like
Just say it. Just
later
say
in
it.
the movie when they kind of show things and you're like, oh,
The picture.
No, like the like when he goes in the apartment.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
with the girl.
And then
Yeah,
that
yes.
then all these flashes that occur.
Yes, so then it's like, was anything?
right. So
Just
Hi, and
fucking
welcome
code.
to Where to
knows.
Find Joker.
yeah,
This
So,
is like an old game
so in
of
the
password.
in the beginning, or so you've seen the trailer, right?
Correct.
He gets assaulted by
Yes.
the sign or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was brought up as a thing by the director, and I was like, oh, I didn't think all the way
Yes.
back. So then it makes you wonder, like, because people are arguing that, oh, well, this movie's dangerous because it sympathizes this guy. This guy's been beat down by life, and in reality, if you watch the movie through these new goggles or whatever, you know what the director said and the things that they show in the film, you're like, not really.
Right.
Not really. Like from
Yeah.
beginning to end, this dude is just fucking off.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't necessarily receive this beat down by society or whatever.
Right.
He's not depressed by the environment or whatever
Right.
that caused him into this
Is it all whatever?
thing.
Right.
Like
yeah.
he could have just been like that from
The
birth.
beginning.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they do. Shit, God damn it, Diego. Because now I want to say something else, and I'm like, there's an indication of where this all came from when
Right.
he was younger, right? So that's interesting.
But even
because
that is like,
Yeah.
do we really know if, you know?
that's true. Is it even real?
Yeah.
Because she says no. Like, right? So we don't really know. But the point being, and anybody who's seen the movie hopefully knows what we're talking about, even though we're talking in code. Fucking Diego. But if you really look
But
at that,
you'll-
it's
this-
like, but that's important. It's like, so should we not show that part of society? If art is supposed to really be a reflection of society, if we're supposed to really talk about things and get things out in the open and show things, should we just gloss over the fact that these people, even the
you
violent
can't.
people, there's some point of like, let's get a better understanding of these people.
But you can't-
You watch Mindhunters, you get a better understanding of these serial killers. Should we not don't humanize the violent? I'm like, they're not fucking humans.
It's part
now?
of
Like,
humanity. Yeah. It's
how
part
are we
of
supposed to
humanity.
deal with a problem
Here's-
if we can't get a proper insight into it?
Here's the thing,
Right.
too. It's like I said. It's like people don't want to accept what reality is.
Right.
It's something that I say about freedom. Here's the thing: we all love freedom, but you can't just give it to a select few.
Right.
Freedom is freedom. Everybody has to have it,
Yeah.
even bad people. You know, of course, they do something bad, they get,
Yeah, the freedom taken away or
they
whatever.
get freedom
right.
taken away by going to jail, whatever the situation is. But freedom is freedom, and you have to give it to everyone.
Right,
You can't
right.
just give it to a select few. So you can't say because this person was born or went through a traumatic part in their life,
Right.
and now might be a little bit deranged. Now you have to take away their freedom,
Right. Yeah,
because
it-
they possibly are going to do something crazy in the future.
Yes.
Then that's
It's a point where you're reacting to things and trying to force things throughout your own bias. You're like,
create an
the rule
outcome,
only
yeah.
applies when it agrees with my bias and my mentality on things. So it's sort of like, I don't like violent movies. I don't like that kind of thing. So therefore, this movie shouldn't be done. But also, art shouldn't be censored.
Yeah, but it's
Well,
okay to
pick
have
a fucking
Avengers
lane.
where like
Yeah.
a guy snaps his fingers, kills like a gazillion people
Yes.
in an instant. That's okay.
Because it's so cartoony, the way it's done is not like as like heavy.
Yeah,
The
it's still- it is
hypocrisy
what it is.
Not as
Yeah.
bad. No,
insane.
it's true.
like-
Yeah.
It is true.
It's just
okay.
You
I'll just-
wanna know
I'll
how
just
violent-
It's
but
like you
look-
can't
look-
show
look- check
tits,
this
but you
out.
could show blood. You know, and it's like that kind of thing. It's
Here's
like,
the thing.
yeah.
You
Have you
show
seen the
some-
new Philly?
Yeah. I
But
did.
What's the Scorsese? Was it a Scorsese film that they just tinted the blood color to make it rated PG-13?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver. Exactly.
No, they tinted the whole
movie.
screen, like the
They tinted the whole thing,
end.
but at the end was because it was because of the blood.
Yes, and then he got it was
It's
an X
still
rating to
fucking
rated
blood.
R. Speaking of Taxi Driver, because this movie definitely takes from Taxi Driver, King of Comedy. Like those two are very.
Yeah, there was another one that
Yeah, there was
he
another one.
cited.
What was the other one that
It was a really good movie.
Shit. Oh man, I'm totally blanking out. But
I know,
it was
yeah.
Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, and
There were like 3 or 4 films they cited.
I don't think the other one
But
was.
those are
Scorsese.
2 everyone
Clockwork
mentions.
Orange.
Yes, Clockwork Orange. I think. Is that right?
I don't
No.
remember hearing Clockwork Orange.
Shit, no, it was a third movie. But anyways, Taxi Driver and King of Comedy are definitely the most influential. The other one, yeah, look it up. The other one is definitely, I remember going, oh yeah, I could totally see that. But I know that, like, King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, like those are big influences on this film.
Okay.
But there's another argument brought up, like, oh, when Taxi Driver came out, John Hinckley, the guy who tried to assassinate Reagan, shot Reagan in '81 or whatever, he was like, that was one of his inspirations, was Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
You had Jodie Foster in that, and he had tried to do it to get her attention, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay, that's, again, not a good argument. You got one guy.
not, yeah.
No, one guy who knows what his trigger would be. We can't just sit there and go, well, we can't just fucking do things because it's going to trigger some guy. Like, there's other problems. Don't blame the fucking triggers. Blame the problem is, like, we're not fixing those people.
Yeah.
Right? We're not fixing the problem behind the problem. You're
Yeah.
trying to, it's symptomatic, relief. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to go, oh, let's just deal with the surface shit. You know what I mean? Let's just deal with the little pings and pangs and the things that are triggering. And like, oh, people are getting sexually assaulted, so therefore put no sexual triggers throughout society. Nobody's allowed to show any skin. And that, you get to this regressive society at that point. That's not helping any. That's not, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, really, what is that?
It's everybody handles something different.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, no, we can't show something because one of those 10 people can't handle it.
Right.
It's not how society
Yeah,
can
one-
work.
exactly,
You
one in 10
can't
people.
stifle, because then there's no growth in society. Then there's no understanding in society. Because I think you have a harder time censoring something and having that reaction
Right.
than understanding how to leave it open and allowing people to experiencing it and
Network.
understanding
Network.
Network.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But there was another
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
There
but
was,
I mean,
sorry.
No, there's crazies.
Yes.
There's crazies in life. There's
Right.
definitely.
Are we
there
trying
is.
to mold society to
But-
to appease the crazy?
But here's
The
the,
other
thing.
thing you have to realize
Hold on.
is-
Let me finish my point real quick. Here's the thing.
Remember
you
that
can't
thought.
remember that thought. Yes. You can't tell someone, because this is how loco society has gotten. We can't tell someone you can't go watch Winnie the Pooh because honey becomes a drug. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, or it's a symbol for
It's
drugs
a symbol.
or
It's a symbol
addiction.
for drug. Or it's you can't do that.
Why'd you have to say that? Now you just
I
ruined
know.
Winnie the Pooh. No.
He wears no pants. The guy's like
He
fucking
wears no
out there.
yeah.
He's
Oh,
sure
there's
cocking it the
literally
whole
a
time.
homeless-
Exactly.
Sure cocking
exactly.
it.
Tigger's
Well.
walking around naked, hopping up and down.
And what's with that
that's
name,
a
Tigger?
sex
It's one
trick.
letter off from another word that's not okay.
Wasn't the
Yeah,
creator like addicted to opium the whole time? No, that
Exactly.
was Lewis
Yeah.
Carroll. Lewis Carroll was addicted
Yes.
to opium.
That's
Also,
what-
but we wouldn't have gotten Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah.
which is a fucking drug
Or all
trip,
the
man.
porno parodies of that. Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
part.
don't talk about that because people might take that wrong in this podcast and they might stifle some kids.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, go ahead. So what were you gonna say?
Oh shit! What was I gonna
We
say?
said to remember
we told
it.
you to hold it.
Network. I mentioned network before, and then you were gonna say something.
I was gonna say something about Serpico was another one that was listed, which is interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
Serpico, huh?
But no, that wasn't what I was gonna say.
Serpico.
Anyway.
I think maybe in the aesthetic.
Oh,
of
I was
Serpico.
gonna say the thing that you have to remember is that the people that are saying these things about this inciting violence is like 4 or 5, maybe even less, like articles that are written
Yeah.
on major publications, and then everyone just picks it up and runs with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you go back to this, go on Google and then look at the articles that were posted that said this the first time, it's like 3 or 4 people, and then every other blog and every YouTube channel and everything
Yeah.
brought this up, and they're like, oh, controversy, because of what happened with Dark Knight.
Yeah.
That's where it all
Dark Knight Rises,
essentially,
right, yeah.
or Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
yeah. That's where the whole thing actually came from. And I don't know. When we went to go see the movie, it was there was a security guard at the
At the ticketing.
ticketing
line,
thing.
yeah.
There was like a he wasn't armed, but you know, it's like security or whatever on his t-shirt.
And they
big
had
beefcake guy.
they literally like signs up that said like this is not for children.
Yeah, they had
and
signs up
Batman
about
ain't
the
in this film.
movie.
Yeah.
And then they had an employee at every entrance to where the movie was being shown, checking your ticket and even asking you if you were old enough to see the movie. And I was
I'm
like,
okay with
it
that,
seems-
honestly. Personally,
it doesn't
I'm okay
bother
with
me,
that.
but
Yeah,
it seemed
whatever.
like
it almost adds to the allure of the film for me.
yeah, no, it's great PR for them.
Yeah.
But and I'm sure Todd Phillips is like, this is great.
To think
you
that
know,
a film
make
could be
all this
dangerous.
money.
To think that a movie could be dangerous. I'm like, what? I don't
Yeah,
know.
but there,
What kind,
there
what are
have
we
been books
raising?
in history that they are like, oh, we're going to ban this book
Burn the
because
book.
it's dangerous.
It's revolutionary. It's whatever. Because
Well,
there's also
burning
this
it's
other.
excessive, but banning it from schools,
True.
like, weren't they trying to ban Harry Potter from a lot of
Yeah.
schools back
Yeah.
when that came out?
Yeah,
I mean,
it always reminds me of
and
that
then
scene in
even
Field
earlier
of
than
Dreams.
that.
Field of Dreams when they're at that school meeting, like PTA conference. You remember
Oh,
that?
yeah, what are we gonna
and
burn
she goes,
books?
And yeah, it's just she's talking about this book and there's sex and stuff in it. And
It
she goes,
was,
and also it was his book. What's his face's book?
Oh, okay.
James Earl Jones's character's book. Remember? And they were she was trying to be the mom was up there and she was like, we gotta get rid of this book or whatever. She goes, also, I heard he masturbates. Remember that scene?
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no, this banning of art. I don't know what kind of. Okay, kids, right? What kind of kids are we trying to raise? Are we trying to raise kids that are so sheltered, right, from these images and these various things? Like society is fucked. Society is a dark place. Not all of it, but there's sections of it. There's violence. I mean, we were raised. Everything. The origins of humankind are steeped in violence. Right?
Yes.
It's just the truth
Yeah.
of the matter.
Yeah.
But we have civilization
beasts,
now.
We are beasts who rise to civilization because of our intelligence and our self-awareness. That's it. And we work constantly, day in, day out, trying not to return to this fucking beastly form. So, with kids, it's sort of like, can we teach them that there's a difference between reality and fantasy, and that there's these things that they don't need to be so triggered about, right? Like there's a way to do it.
But
I think
it's a silly argument because you can go on YouTube, not without an account, go on YouTube or go on some other site, go on one of these other streaming sites that are less popular, and you can watch war videos or beheadings, or you can just watch this shit without any kind of verification, without any, login or anything.
and
You
it's
can
fucked
just-
up, but people are watching them.
Yeah, you can go watch these actually dangerous things to watch that somebody probably shouldn't see. Like, what was that thing back in the day when it was Faces of Death or whatever?
Yeah.
It was like that the VHS.
Oh, I know
don't know
what
if
you're
you
talking
remember
about.
this.
I know what
but-
you're talking about.
Yeah, when I was in high school, there was like a VHS that you could buy that was like basically just a compilation of like people dying on
Snuff
video.
films. It was like snuff films.
I mean, they were all like fluke things. It wasn't like somebody was murdering these people. It was like, somebody getting hit by a car or whatever.
Jesus
This is
Christ.
really, it's got
I
really
don't
dark.
remember that,
But
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, being exposed to that kind of stuff, that is traumatizing.
Right.
Being exposed to Hollywood violence, I wouldn't say is traumatizing
Because you could-
because
But
you
even
could
the
say,
thing is,
this
I know what you're
isn't
talking
real.
about.
Those actors are still alive. Look, he's on Jimmy Kimmel right now
Yeah.
laughing about his performance in The
Right.
Joker. Like,
Even
What are we
that,
talking about?
I watched those,
yeah.
and I haven't killed anyone.
No, that's true. But I mean, I
It's
think
And
just
that,
again, people are talking
just
about
making
it's
the
gonna
argument,
inspire
it's like-
mentally deranged
Correct.
people.
Yeah,
right? And
it's
we're
like
not
go
mentally
after.
deranged.
But to me, that would be more like that kind of stuff. Is like you don't want to like be sharing that and having people watch that kind of
Yeah,
stuff
right.
all the time.
But the movie, so okay. Again, going back to your Avengers,
even that's censorship,
Avengers
I guess.
analogy. Yeah, that's the thing. You go back to Avengers analogy, right? So they humanized in a way Thanos. They actually gave him.
Oh, yeah.
Like even you also.
why do you think everybody's running around with their glove, like snapping
But you
everybody?
might-
Would you say to me, snap you? I snap you. Like you're just, that's basically tantamount to pulling a gun on somebody and pointing it at them.
That's true.
Yeah,
no,
that's
but
true.
you.
But
What
nobody's
you
getting kicked out of school.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting banned for,
But
expelled.
but even you said it's sort of like, I mean, it's wrong, but I can kind of see where he was coming from. Where he was like, let's balance the universe. They made it almost sort of like, I get it.
Oh, I
It's
see
not
it all
just
the
black
time.
or
All I
white.
do is watch the news
It's
for
not
5
even
minutes,
Thanos.
and
I
I'm
wanna
like,
snap my face.
he knew he was onto something.
It's
My
not just
boy's onto
Thanos. You
something.
got Dexter.
Yeah, I love Dexter. Dexter's my boy.
Dexter killed people. One
Well,
of the long,
but murderers. He killed murderers.
He killed people still. But he
See, you say they're
but that's-
murderers, and it's like the second you
that's-
murder, all of a sudden you're not a human being anymore. But like you watch a show like Mindhunters, where it's like these FBI agents were trying to understand, like, how did these people get
Right.
from like being born to deciding I'm going to mass murder?
Yes.
Or I'm going to
Exactly.
secretly and covertly mass murder.
Right.
And if you don't investigate this and you don't understand like what is the cause behind this, it's just going to perpetuate. It's going to
Yeah.
continue to go on. It's going to become a mystery, and everyone's going to become afraid and become
Yeah.
terrified, and nothing's
Yeah.
going to be done about it. So you have to have people that are like willing to look at this shit and have the conversation, to sit down
that's
with
what
like
films-
the
that's
serial
what
killer and
films do.
ask him like,
Right, 'cause are we
what's
gonna-
up?
Films like I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I've literally seen people talk about how this movie actually made them open their eyes to trauma and
Correct.
what you can
Yeah.
create by being shitty to somebody, by hurting somebody. So I'm like, are we just going to negate the positivity that came from this kind of art? Like, honestly, like I watched it the way I watched it, right? And I went, wow, that's fucked up. This could have been avoided. Like, if the stuff was true, that like and how it went down for that
But I will
character,
say,
I kind of went,
it's-
interesting. So if none of that stuff happened, would he have done this? Would any of that stuff occur?
Of course he would, dude. The
Yeah.
thing that my takeaway watching the movie is I'm watching the movie. Obviously, he gets, if you've seen in the trailer, like there are scenes where Joker, what's his name, Fitch,
Arthur Fleck.
Arthur Fleck, Arthur Fleck gets like mistreated,
Yes.
and there's a reason why I guess these people go after him or whatever, or like bully him or whatever. But his reaction to it is far more excessive
Yes.
than the reaction of like somebody who's being bullied. Like,
Yeah.
so this argument that like, oh, it like glorifies, violence and makes it look like, so if you've been bullied, then, then you should do this extreme reaction. And I'm like, not really.
No, it doesn't-
Like when
it
I
doesn't
watched that
say that's
movie,
a
I
good
was like,
thing.
all right, okay, what these guys are doing is not okay, but his reaction was
It's
like
too much.
1,000 times not okay. Like,
Yeah, it's
yes,
not
he should have
justified.
reacted and like there should have been a reaction, but that was not the proper
Exactly. It
reaction
gives you
to it.
insight into the behind the scenes and what went on to form that kind of condition in his mind and then his reaction. That's all it does. It gives you insight. And it doesn't justify the actions. It never does. Just because you get an understanding of evil doesn't
Yeah.
mean the evil is ever justified. Now, we have Holocaust museums. We have the African American Museum where it shows slavery and stuff like that. We look at the horrors and atrocities of history. We show the Nazis and their evils. We show Hitler. We show these slave owners and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
because you can't
And-
ignore it.
Right, but we show this stuff blatantly just to get an understanding to not reverse a society. And then we're going to look at this fucking film and say that this is wrong?
Yeah.
But at this,
What the
that's
That's
fuck?
actually a really good point.
I know, I
Yeah.
just don't get it why
But you
people,
have to
because
also
somebody
realize
is
that,
sensitive
like-
to violence in movies, they just want to shit on it. I'm like,
But it goes back
come
to my
on.
other point about, there's somebody on a Vanity Fair or whatever, or what's that other one? They have the show on HBO. They love
Vice?
Triggering Vice.
Oh, man.
They have some really good. They're
their
weird.
show
They have
is
really
better
good
than their
stuff.
articles. Yeah.
But then they also do stuff that I wildly disagree with. But
it's the people writing their articles and shit.
yeah,
like
like
that.
they'll
They're
do an
really-
article like that, and then they
very
just
clickbaity-ish.
It's very clickbaity.
Yeah.
Like this entire argument.
They want
is
to
a
go
non-argument.
the opposite of what other people are doing.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
would
they-
be. Why are we talking about Rambo?
They
fucking
shit on Dave
Last
Chappelle's
Blood?
Stick and Stones.
He kills like 700 people in Rambo
and Stones.
Last Blood.
Yeah.
Sticks and Stones, yeah.
In
But
a
Rambo
farm.
Last Blood, like
Yeah.
nobody's talking about that.
Yeah.
That's a violent. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I watched the trailer and I read the
But
reviews.
he's
They're like
he's
the body
killing,
count is like 700 or
But he's killing
200
bad guys.
people or something.
Joker's not killing bad guys. I think that's the whole point. Is a movie
What do
all
you
about a
mean?
villain.
I would say that if okay, first of all, we should let Diego know this movie is not violent. That the actual violence in this movie is extremely tame. So for people to say it's violent is the most
There's-
ridiculous. It's
wow.
only violent in the
the
context
little guy
of
and
the
the big guy?
reality. It's only, but even that is like if you watch any Scorsese film,
It's
it's
true.
1,000 times
It's
more
not
violent.
excessive compared to just other violence.
It's like
you see all the time in-
three scenes in the whole movie.
Deadpool is probably more violent.
Probably.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Probably. It absolutely is more
Yeah,
violent,
it's
but
true.
it's cartoon violence.
It's true,
in that
but it's
sense.
psychological,
and
so
it's
it really
CG.
fucks you up in that
Like
way.
this movie doesn't have CG.
I
There's
don't
like
think
no
there's any
CG in the whole
No
movie.
CG, which is refreshing.
I don't know. Maybe the blood. Maybe it's like John Wick blood or something.
No, it's not. They actually
Maybe they
specifically
use
he wanted to
real
do a non-CG
squibs or
film.
something.
There's like may do a. Sometimes they have green screen in the way back on like a location shoot or whatever just to block out something because they had to make it look like 1980s.
Yeah.
So maybe they did something like that. But no, this is a
like-
vastly non-CG film.
Like Halloween is violent, but Halloween, like nobody argues about that because
it's
you
a
know
horror
Michael
film.
Myers is like an insane.
But Joker comes from Batman, and kids love comics and it's superhero movie, quote unquote. So people are going.
How many
you're
people did
lumping
Heath
it
Ledger
in.
kill in Dark Knight
I don't know.
Rises?
But it was PG-13. There was no on-screen blood. and death. Like even when he cuts the person's cheek or whatever, like it never
him.
actually.
But isn't that
actually,
worse?
Michael Jai
When he
White.
grabs that guy's head. And
But
they,
isn't
like,
that? Hold on a second. But
that
isn't that
made me
worse?
recoil.
Yeah.
Leaving. Wouldn't that be considered? I don't think it's worse. I think art actually creates openness to understanding.
Yeah.
And I think the understanding creates growth in society.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
The
but
other-
what I was going to say is that PG-13 leaving it to the imagination, wouldn't that be worse than just automatically just showing?
I don't know. I mean, there's probably different
Because if
studies
it's
that
a-
can be done
if
on
it's a bad
worse or not.
person,
I think
Your
everybody's
imagination
different.
is worse, I think, than saying
I
the
think
real thing.
Mine specifically?
No, not yours, but I think the
Probably mine too.
yours, yeah. The
Let me
general
ask you
public
this.
imagination is
If-
gonna be worse.
if
I think,
somebody
than seeing
Who has
Yeah.
a trigger
Yeah.
to do something
trigger.
negative in society,
I
whatever it is, leaving it to his imagination to me feels worse
Yeah.
than to just showing.
I think everybody's different. You
All
know what
I
mean?
know is
feel
if
like
I
that's
go
a hard
into a
thing to say
movie-
what's worse.
Yeah, there's no right and wrong. It's
yeah.
just
If I go into a movie and I start having a panic attack because of the movie and I start freaking out, I'm like, bravo, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want. I want to go to a movie and be moved and have an experience. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go on a roller coaster to be thrilled.
Yes.
I like going to this movie. I want to go to like a movie like
we
Joker
don't go into
and
the
be
haunted houses
thrilled.
on
I wanna-
Halloween because we're, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that. That's
I wouldn't
disturbing.
go see a drama
Yeah.
unless I wanted, to have drama shown to
Yeah.
me, and I want to see how experience an emotional roller coaster.
Including
I don't
the
want to
lows.
be some kind of like
Including the
fucking
lows.
robot watching
Yeah.
this.
I know.
It doesn't even make sense. It's
Also,
like why?
The other criticism of this film is this whole poor and rich divide thing, and it's 99% and 1% kind of like in how
'cause
it's sort of
'cause
the
it
poor should uprise
ties
against the
into
rich.
our current.
Yeah. And just Antifa
It's
and all
not
these
even
different
current.
things.
It's like it's been that way forever.
yeah. So
yeah, let me.
it's
break
literally
their-
been comment Robin
break their
Hood for fuck's
society.
sake.
Yeah.
It's like it's not inciting riots. It's a fucking
Well, there's a scene
movie.
where he's like seeing like a social worker, which
Yeah.
they show in the trailer, and then like the funding gets cut, and she's like, "All right, well, no medication, I'm out, whatever.
That
You're on
shit's
your
happened.
own." And that shit happens to people all the time. And the movie takes place in the 80s, too.
It's supposed to be
so
like
it's supposed to
basically 1980s New York. It's Gotham, but it's basically
Yeah.
1980s New York, which was fucked.
Yeah.
So why don't we are we just going to ignore the fact that this is actually
Nobody
a
wants
reflection
to
of shit?
remember how awful New York was in the 80s.
It's so nuts. Like
It
I'm
was-
like
just watch Staying Alive, or is it Staying Alive? What's
Saturday
that?
Night Fever?
Saturday Night Fever. Watch the beginning of that movie where he's walking down that garbage street. They didn't make it look that
Queens,
shitty.
yeah.
Like it was
Was that
shitty.
shitty?
There were like fucking heroin
Or
addicts
Taxi
everywhere.
Driver.
Buildings were dilapidated, falling down. There was like shit in
Taxi
street.
Driver had no sets. That was New York City at
Yeah,
the time.
like watch a movie that was
1976.
filmed in the late 70s, early 80s, and
Yeah.
New York City was a fucking cesspool.
Yeah, that's probably why Serpico is one of the inspiration because that they recreated it to look like those movies really were capturing New York at the time. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. But there is this thing where people are like, it's inciting an uprising, and I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? It's
You know
a
what's inciting
goddamn
the
movie.
uprising? Is somebody saying, "Hey, let's go to Area 51."
Yeah, right.
There was no Area 50.
Clap some alien
There was
cheeks.
no Area 51 film.
Yeah.
Somebody still said that, so you
Yeah.
can't blame it on art.
And anyways, the thing is,
Yeah.
I get it. Like, if it's not your cup of tea, if it's not your bag of chips, I get it. Don't watch it. I
well,
totally
a lot of the
respect
people
that.
that
I
said
respect
this stuff
that.
about it haven't watched it.
I actually,
That was
yeah,
what the
there are some
director
people
said.
who haven't watched it that are shitting on it.
Yeah,
and I'm
Todd
like,
Phillips is like, the movie's not even out. And I know for a fact that some of these editors who wrote these articles have not seen the movie. And they say in their articles, some of them have said, I refuse to see it, but I'm going to denounce it.
and that's
because of the
interesting.
trailer.
It's an interesting.
And that in itself,
It's
you're like,
interesting.
you should just stop listening to that person entirely.
It makes
because if
the
they're gonna,
intent very obvious. It makes the intent shady because we then know you're actually just trying to censor the concept of something at that point. You don't even know if the
yeah.
execution communicates the message you're claiming it communicates.
it comes back to the Sticks and Stones.
Yeah,
Like how many
exactly.
was it? Like 3 or 4? Like Rotten Tomatoes allowed
Yeah.
only 3 or 4 reviews.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
Editor reviews,
Joker
that
got
makes no
Joker
sense
has
at all.
68%, which is a fresh rating on critics. It's got 90% audience. So it's like the divide on this is sort of because then you read the critical articles.
But
the
there's many things like that on Rotten
Yeah,
Tomatoes.
I know
where-
there is. It drives me nuts. But the criticism is always related to its message about society. It's not about the execution of the film because the film is beautiful, like looking
Incredibly
shot.
Diego,
Incredible.
the way it's shot, like you're gonna be like,
you're gonna
whoever the
hate yourself.
cinematographer is, like just fucking.
It was
nailed
incredible.
Like, I love the way it's
the
shot.
editing was fantastic. The choice of music, but it's Joaquin Phoenix's performance is what makes this film
I would say that and the cinematography, like those combined. Like if it was shot like a like a Spielberg film or J.J. Abrams film, where it's like fixed cams and all that kind of stuff. Like
he would still shine, but I do get what
he
you
would
mean.
shine, but it wouldn't
movie
feel
itself
as
feel
like
You're right.
intense. Like the way
it's visceral. It's
that's why the violence in the movie feels so raw. Because of the way it was filmed. Like, it feels like a hand cam. There's a lot of hand cam shots where it's like, up in your... It's a lot of close-ups. It's like either close-ups or wides. That's like it. There's no, like, intermediary shots. It's like you're either in the person's face or you're, like, way far away. Like, above the person looking down. It's very... Very surreal. It's almost like when you're watching a movie, like you're watching a dream or something.
It's fantastic though. Like it's really good. And like I said, the editing is actually really solid too.
Yeah.
But the writing, the
and
story,
his performance is like, oh my god.
It's his performance. His performance is so like literally. If he doesn't win the Oscar, I'm gonna be like, it's fucking rigged because it's October.
crazy.
It's October.
You
now,
need
right?
him to have that proven, or
yeah, we already know that. So we're 6 weeks.
When you see it, you're gonna be like, I don't know what other actors are being nominated this year, but. This guy went above and beyond.
I've seen a lot of movies. Not most. I've seen a lot of movies this year. Right? Nobody comes close to his performance. It's so like there's acting, and then there's what Joaquin Phoenix is doing. Like it's like Daniel Day-Lewis kind of shit. Like you're just like it's on another level, and you're like, this is the kind of skill and talent that sets people aside from others. Right?
Yeah.
This is a cut above anything else. And if you just like pure raw acting, storytelling, and so on, this movie delivers on that, despite what you think the message is communicating or whatever else is going on. This movie is a fucking movie for the ages. I was like, for me, this is movie of the year for me right now.
Yeah, I don't even know what to compare it to. I mean, as far as like a comparable performance.
Well, I'll do is I'll go watch it
because
then I'll make the right judgment.
I never thought that he would like anybody would ever give Heath Ledger a run for his money. But like,
but with
and
this
I've
movie
said
is
that.
interesting because it's like
people-
95% Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty much all.
95% of the movie is him on camera, and then a very small percentage on other people.
Yeah.
And it's like you're with him the whole movie. Whereas in Dark Knight Rises, like he's a supporting actor. You could take all of his scenes and make like 19 minutes out of like
true.
a 2.5 hour.
And he's
movie.
fantastic, and it never
He
takes
holds
away
his
from
own.
that. It's a different character. It's a completely different guy.
Yeah.
He plays it very differently.
They're not even that similar, to be honest with you.
But the laugh, though, the twist they did on the laugh in this movie, where it's like it's an involuntary medical condition where he laughs in inappropriate situations and he tries to stifle it with a little like he's like choking on his laugh. It's so beautifully done. I'm just like,
great.
oh my god.
Todd Phillips said in an interview, he was like, our intention with this film was to make sure the audience could not relate to this character. They said they went out of their way to shoot the film in such a way and to write the film in such a way where the audience would feel uncomfortable from beginning to end.
Interesting.
Where they're unable to go, oh yeah, I'm like this guy.
Yeah.
Like I can understand his trauma. Like they didn't want that at all. That wasn't their intention, is to have anyone relate to it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Right. Wow.
That they specifically chose to film it that way and shoot it that way.
Right. My last take on this film is I loved it. I honestly loved every second of it. Sometimes you go into something with high expectations and it doesn't live up to that. This one exceeded my high expectations. Literally from the first moment.
And it has humor. It has moments that are actually funny.
We laughed, honestly, at times. And
I don't know if we should have, but
we didn't laugh at well, that scene after with the little guy and the chain on the door.
Well,
like,
that, and then also in the children's hospital.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, you got to see the film. It really.
I am.
There's so many
love
great moments in this film, but I honestly, from beginning to end, it was for me, it was a near perfect.
And
film.
I hope that I hope that it. I really wanted to connect and have like another I want a Batman film like this.
Yeah.
Like a serious R film and just be like have Warner Brothers or who's doing it? Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Have them just be like, fuck it, we're just gonna do a rated R Batman origin story where he's a Hard Knocks detective or whatever, and he's like
grounded and
I mean, I understand like they want to make that Marvel money and they want to appeal to like young kids with the PG-13.
And they would fuck that up if they go with a rated R Batman. They're gonna have to. I mean, Deadpool. It was in Logan were two examples of superhero movies can make money
Doing
you can
rated
do
R,
Batman.
yeah.
They
Even
You
both
don't
of
have-
those
they don't
are
want to deal with the
high-
parent groups,
like
I think.
CG, cartoony, a little bit. Like Logan was more
Deadpool
grounded.
had a lot of CG. Yeah, Logan had a lot.
Logan was more down.
Deadpool was humorous. It was like goofy.
I loved it.
It was like they're literally
Deadpool 2 is literally
Thanos.
one of my favorite
Like he
fucking
referenced
movies.
Josh Brolin being Thanos. Like
And One Eye Willie like mentions he's
yeah,
not
Goonies,
Goonies
and stuff. Like there's you
Yeah.
can't ever take it
But he
serious.
calls
but
him Thanos. Like,
I'm just saying, if
he's-
you did like
so
a
great.
Batman that was grounded like this Joker movie, I would, as an adult, I'd be into it. I could
Totally.
understand children being like, "Oh, it was
Right.
upsetting."
But there's 70 some odd,
Batman.
80 years of Batman history.
Yeah.
80 years now. I think we're in the 80th anniversary, and that means there's 80 years of Batman fans. So they're
Yeah,
not all kids.
We have all the kid movies. We have the television series. We have the
Yeah.
animated series. Kids have gotten their fill.
Give the adults.
Give the adults.
Fuck them kids.
Give the adults the R-rated Batman.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to hit the theaters.
Yeah.
I have to hit the theaters.
See
I
it
just
in
haven't had
theaters.
time. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go watch it because I really want to. Because you guys know I really like psychological films. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
it's
see it,
it's
check it
that.
out, so.
and spit
I now
and
want to
more.
watch this other movie that he did right before this. You Were Never Really There. I
You Were Never Really There, which
wanted
was
to
really
see it.
good.
And I never watched it.
Which was
but
really
I
good.
need to
Yeah.
see it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us here at Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson. I can't even do the laugh. It's like
I can't do it.
yeah, that's it. It's like
That's
that.
his normal laugh. That's Diego's normal laugh. Fucking psycho.
Shut up.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.